What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boys over here at Three Man Weave. I'm your co-host CJ, here with my lovely co-host ZD on this beautiful March 16th Monday evening. We have a jam-packed episode for y'all. We'll be going over our MVP a tier list or awards race that we've been doing the mid-season, and
Yeah,
we'll
mid-season.
start that one off for you, since that's probably going to be the main title of this episode. Obviously MVP is a award, that coveted award that every pair strives for. We're also going to be talking about our storylines in the week. Bam got 83. New York Knicks have been on a roll these past couple weeks.
There
And the
you go.
NBA's thinking of doing an expansion to Las Vegas or Seattle, so that's gonna put me in an interesting spot. For
Yeah.
everyone that doesn't know, I'm a Vegas kid. I was
Oh my
born
girl.
there, and I moved here when I to Texas when I was 12. So that's gonna be interesting. And obviously Seattle, for everyone that doesn't know, has a huge Seattle Supersonics. A lot of great NBA players are from Washington and the city of Seattle. So it's gonna be an interesting conversation we'll have with that one. And obviously we'll talk about the Thunder and the Laker analysis, and then
We will.
we'll kind of end off this tonight's episode with some of our game previews for today. But we jam pack episode Z. It's a Monday. What we always say, we like to start the week off with some hoops. But how you doing tonight, and how you been since the last week?
Nah, bro, I appreciate the intro, man. I think I've been doing pretty well myself. I can't really complain. I got a lot of stuff I've been doing, bro. We've been busy this last past week. You had the interview with Stacks, I think,
Yes,
on
sir.
Opinionated Media. That's going to drop soon.
Be a banger.
Lakers have been getting W's left and right, though, bro. My team is playing at an extremely high level. The MVP conversation is heating up. Adebayo, 83 points, right? I mean, Come on now. Like, that's exciting. A lot of good stuff going on, man, especially in the league. I'm doing all right personally. Just trying to build towards my dreams, man. You guys see it. That's why we're on right now on Three Man. We appreciate you guys for tapping in. But CJ, how you feeling, bro? You doing all right?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm doing great. After this past week of hoops, Thunder were able to go 3-0, I believe, since last time we talked, and we were going against, competitive teams. Shea was able to break Wilt's record, and we'll talk about that whenever we get there. But man, it's a lot of good hoops and good moments for me this past week, just seeing history being broken again, and getting the second most points scored in the NBA game was crazy. Just kind of keeping up with it, seeing that he dropped 31 in the first quarter, and then as that progressed, I'm like, oh, he's gonna get 60, and then that went to 60, went to 70, and then it was like, wait, what, are we gonna see Bam break Kobe's 81 points? And then being able to see that, bro, is crazy. So it's been good, bro. Can't complain. Like you said, we shot a pod with Stacks last Wednesday, and we usually record Monday, Wednesday, so we only dropped one pod for y'all last week. But we'll bring back two for you this week, and it was a lot that happened. So this might be a little bit longer pod, but I'm ready to get into it, bro. Especially with the MVP race that we're about to talk about right now.
Go ahead. You can take it
man.
away, my man.
Yeah, I got you, brother. So, like we said earlier, we've been doing mid-season awards for all the awards that are in the NBA, and it's the time we talk about it, man. It's the MVP, most valuable player for this season, and at number three man weave has Nikola Jokic. Jokic is third on our list at the moment, not because his numbers have dropped, but because the Nuggets have struggled over the last 10 games. The Joker is still the Joker. He's averaging 28.6 points per game, 12.7 rebounds per game, and 10.5 assists a game, which ranks first in the NBA. Jokic also has 27 triple-doubles this season, which ranks first in the league by a wide margin. And Jokic is only 2 games away from being ineligible, and if the Nuggets continue to lose games, could fall out of the top 3. We talk about him a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously Jokic is one of the greatest offensive centers offensive players we've ever seen. So not even taking that out of the way, his numbers are always going to be there. I just said it. He leads the league in triple doubles. The really only thing is just the team success, because I feel like a lot of the other awards we were talking about, team success has a lot to do with the narrative and who gets the push in this, and at the back end of the season to get one of these awards. And I think that's where Jokic is falling right now. We said it, the Nuggets have not been doing well. over their last 10 games. Obviously, he's putting up the numbers. So if they do get the win, then it'll be obviously contributed to
Yeah,
Jokic's
yeah.
success. But that being said, the team just success isn't as good, I guess, it has it been these past couple seasons. And with who else we have, top two in our list, it kind of, goes to show that you do have to put up the stats, but your team success also has a huge factor with this award. So I feel like Jokic is a perfect example of pretty much any of his past 2-3 seasons that he could probably have won. But obviously, Shea winning the last one, and then he won the previous two, so he could have three-peated. But I think it's team success, and for us, Jokic, Nuggets have been doing pretty decent, but over their last 10 have been struggling a little bit. He's putting up the numbers, but we gotta put team success. We have to weigh that pretty heavily for the
A
MVP.
little, yeah, heavier. And well, for me, he's leading the league in assists, which hasn't been done since Wilt Chamberlain. 8.6 assists. I think Jokic has flirted with that, but obviously Halliburton, Trae Young, they've taken that assist championship away from him. And this season, those two guys aren't actually really playing that much. So I think he's actually going to win the title, which he'll be the first center to win that assist award in like 60 years or something.
Crazy.
I honestly think he's now played himself into that voter fatigue place as well, similar to Giannis. We spoke about this 3 months ago, I think, when we broke down all 30 teams, and then 6 months ago, or almost 6 months ago now, when we were doing preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Voter fatigue, right? We had another guy on this list who might be victim of that, but year after year after year, Jokic continues to show up in these lists. The thing about it for me is the player efficiency. I think he's sitting at 33.62 or something, which is another NBA record, previously beating his record for 2022, 2023. He's having the most efficient season of his career. But it seems like we see that every season. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think the voters, if honorable mentions for me, just I'll be honest with you guys, full transparency. I think me and CJ went back and forth on this one. You could put Wemby here. You could put Cade here. I feel like Wemby, for me, might be in my 3 spot right now because of what I'm seeing on the defensive end and what I'm seeing from the Spurs. You just got done talking about the team success. Well, we're weighing that heavier than some of the individual success. Obviously, that matters too. But the Spurs, man, are like 16-2 over the last 18 games. Haven't really lost many games over the last month and a half, but I think Wemby's been absolutely brilliant. I think he's shooting 40% over the last month. Also getting 4 blocks a game right now to go alongside the 20 points and the 12 boards. And just Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, we've talked about the Spurs pretty much ad nauseum. Me and you are both not fans of them, but I think it is interesting. We do got to bring up some of the honorable mentions here because Jokic isn't number. I said it might be a hot take, but he may not be top 3 this season, and it may end up that way. To be honest with you, because at the end of the day, the Nuggets are the 4 or 5 seed in the West. I don't know if he'll be top 3, but as of right now, CJ and I got him at our 3 spot. Obviously, he's putting up the 28 a game and leading the league in assists with over 10 a game. So shout out to Nikola Jokic. He's still the Joker, like you said earlier, man, still doing his thing, laughing all the way to the bucket. But going on to our number 2 guy, man. It's my guy, man. It's Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is second on our list for this season for MVP because of his undeniable offensive consistency. Doncic is averaging 32.8 points per game, which ranks first in the NBA, 8 boards a game, and 8.5 assists per game on 48% shooting from the field. The only knock on Luka's MVP campaign has been his team, but the Lakers hold the number 1 ranked offense over the last 10 games, scoring 122.3 points per 100 possessions. Doncic is scoring a blistering 34 points per game during this 10-game stretch, and the Lakers are third in the Western Conference now, sitting at 42-25. I mean, you said it, man. I personally did not choose Luka to win the MVP this year due to our team's success, but I'll talk about it a little bit later. I probably won't even talk about all the games, but the game versus the Nuggets, bro, kind of similar to Shea when you talk about solidifying the MVP case or whatever you want to say. I think Luka hitting that game winner over Spencer Jones in that fashion, having Austin Reeves, miss a free throw to get the floater and then go to overtime, and just that whole thing to win the tiebreaker too Let's not forget
Mhm.
about that because that was a big game in the
Yep.
standings. Having those games at this point in the season is why you're on this list. We were just talking about Jokic and how he's been doing well, but his team has been struggling. Luka is he's on the opposite side of that. He's been doing well, but his team's also been doing well. And I think that's kind of you're getting that put together at this point of the season. It's not a knock on Cade or Wemby or other people who are performing at a high level, but when you look at Luka's numbers and the fact he's been doing it all year, I think he's missed less games than a Wemby. He's missed less games than Jokic, right? So he's been available, which matters, And I think this could be a hot take, but I think Luka Doncic is underrated now. We've seen a lot of people bash on his defensive ability and, oh, is he really this type of play? Bro, I think we're starting to see it and it's starting to show in our record now. No slight to JB or Wemby or Cade or whatever, but you guys are putting up 26, 5 and 6, and your team is doing well. Luka Doncic is putting up 33, 8, 9,
Yeah.
so it's not a knock on you, but I think we do got to put guys on this list who are performing at a high level and their teams are also good because you can't say the Lakers aren't good. We're third in the West,
Yeah.
So shout out to Luka Doncic. He's obviously making this MVP case pretty late here. I think he can win if the Lakers stay hot and finish out the season this way. I don't think he will. I think he can. I don't think he will, though. And that's because this other person he's had a couple games that are hard to dismiss.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you said it, bro. I mean, I'll talk about Luca before we get to our number
Yeah.
one spot, but just, I told you, that was my preseason prediction for the award. And even, when we did it, I think, like you said, like 3 months ago, the like quarter of the way into the season, kind of who we still thought, or the MVP race, I also had him on one of my lists still just because of we know that he could put up the numbers. And I think that's something that for Shea's instance, right? He's not gonna be able to mimic the same stat line, but the team success is what we were talking about. And if Luca could take the Lakers to a top 3, top 4, even, and putting up the numbers that he has been, then he's always going to be in the conversation just because it look aesthetically pleasing on a box score Warriors. They see that
Exactly.
Luka's getting almost averaging a 30-point triple double and his team's top
good,
4.
too.
It looks good, and obviously it's been translating to wins, and y'all have been playing at an incredible, level this past couple weeks. So, I think putting him in this conversation, I never counted him out, even though the number one guy list on the list is, someone that's on my team, and I've been seeing what he's been doing all year, but just the stats that Luka could put up on any given night, and if the Lakers are always going to be competing, he's always going to be in the conversation. So, like you said, besides these past couple games that the Thunder and Shea have been going through these past couple 3-4 games, I think that kind of is what pushed him up like higher on this list for me personally too. Besides that though, like I said, Luka, bro, he's always been in the conversation, and I still think he can be, especially if he keeps up the level that he's performing and what the Lakers have been able to do. But
100%.
man, I said it, man. Number one on our list right now for the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. SGA is 3-man Weave's MVP so far and may go back to back if he finishes out the season strongly. Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 31.6 points per game. It's it's not Luka's 32.8, but it's second in the league. 4.8
right there.
rebounds a night and 6.7 assists on the season, which I believe is, if it's not a career high, it's up there. I think
second best.
Yeah, he's been averaging 6 to if it's 5 to 6 a season. So seeing this elevation of his playmaking is really incredible for Shai. But what makes Shai special is his defense and efficiency. Shai is shooting 55% from the floor and this season, and 38.5 from beyond the arc. Shai Gilgeous is averaging 1.5 steals per game and almost 1 block per game as well. Shai has also been king of the clutch this season, totaling 153 clutch points, which ranks first in the NBA this season. The Thunder have also been the best team in the NBA all year, thanks to Shai. Shai's brilliant play. OKC ranks first in the NBA in overall net rating with a plus 10.7, and the Thunder have a 53-15 record, which is also first in the NBA. Shai continues to be the most consistent superstar in the NBA. Man, I think
Yeah.
you with Jokic, right? How you said the voter fatigue and kind of what he does, you've kind of become numb to it. I think Shea's not putting up the 30-point triple doubles every game, but his performances and what he does in the clutch, I feel like gets overlooked because we're so used to it, and people say it's like, oh, I'm tired of seeing the Thunder win, this and that. It's like, bro, like for me personally, like obviously I'm a Thunder fan, so I love it, but just even the play, like it's kind of what Wemby is for me right now. So I kind of get what people were saying with like you just expect him to be great and the team ends up winning. I get how that can become an old thing for you, especially if it's not your team. But
Yes.
it's just the
Yes.
consistency, and I don't mean to sound, say something Shea has said, but that is exactly what he's been, and he's only gotten better each year, and we're just improving as well overall as a team. And obviously, getting to that mountaintop and getting a chip is already something, but trying to go back to back and replicate the season you just had, I think, that's why we said it earlier. The past 3 games, I think they were all 3 go-ahead buckets to be able to, seal a
Yeah.
W. And it's against the teams. It was the Celtics, the Warriors, and then the
Hmm.
Nuggets. You know what I mean? So those are all pretty good
Decent.
teams.
Yeah,
Obviously,
pretty damn
Warriors don't
good
have
teams.
Steph, but like for the most
They're
part,
not trash.
they're not garbage. So just seeing those
Yeah.
moments and seeing how we were before, before when he was injured, whenever he wasn't able to
Yeah,
play, and just
that's
seeing how the team looks
exactly
now,
right.
it's incredible, bro. So we obviously had to put him at number one just off of these moments. And I think I told ZD when I saw him last Wednesday when we shot the pod with Stacks, just that moment, even though it wasn't as late into the season as Russ's like game winning 3 and Nuggets when he had like a 50-point triple double, whatever it was.
Hmm.
Not to seal like a playoff spot, right? But we're the number one team right now in the NBA in the Western Conference, going against really tough teams, and you could do that 3 days in a row. I think that, or 3 games in a row. I think that kind of just speaks for itself. It's just kind of levels to it. And, he could potentially be the first player to win an MVP and a clutch player of the year award in the same
Yeah.
season.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that in itself, bro, it just kind of goes to show the type of player he's been, and, what he's been able to do every year in and year out, and just been consistent, bro. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think that's a perfect way to sum it up. Just
And
SGA, MVP.
I'll say this, dude, if he goes back to back on MVP and Finals MVP this season, he's the second best guard we've seen in this decade behind Steph Curry.
Mm.
Like you
Yeah.
can't say that.
You can't
If he
say he's
does it,
not.
if he goes back to back MVP plus Finals MVP, because one that's hard to do once, but if you do it
Once.
2 times in 2 times back to back, it's like hard to
We might have
really
to have
touch
that
that, bro.
conversation.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, but I never was opposed to having Shea, there. But I
Right.
think a lot of people just don't really want him there. And I think all 3 of those dudes, I'll be honest, I'll say my list. My list is Shea at 1, Luka at 2. I have Wemby at 3, then Jokic, then Cade, and then JB. All right.
Mm.
And if you want to get technical, you can put Anthony Edwards, I think 7th, 8th is probably Donovan Mitchell.
Okay.
But bro, I'll be honest, like Luka, Jokic, Wemby, all those guys are kind of baked in Hall of Famers from the NBA. Like we're all just like, yeah, those guys are going to the Hall of Fame. Shea is like just the dude who keeps having to prove himself, man, as if he's not one of the top 100 players we've ever seen. So I
Mm.
think that is interesting. I wouldn't say Cade is there yet. Obviously, JB's not there. I'd say Donovan Mitchell might be.
Yeah.
But I feel like Shea is right there. And I'm assuming in 20 years when they do that, the 100-year anniversary team, I'm sure he'll make it. He'll be at the end, but
Mm.
I'm sure he'll make it.
Yeah.
So that is interesting.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Bro, it's been crazy seeing, because I
Yeah.
didn't have him win back to back, honestly. So the
Oh,
fact
yeah,
that
I
he
know.
is, and now he's, you I think you ended up picking Shea to win. So you were right, bro. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have been surprised if he was. I just thought with Luca and his situation in LA, I think it just not seemed like an easier way, but I knew he was going to put up the
Yes,
numbers,
like the
and it just,
pathway.
the
Yeah,
pathway
of
was
course.
kind of like,
Preseason.
yeah,
Hmm.
it was kind of like a perfect storyline for it. And like you said, the voter fatigue, that's definitely going to become a thing if
Oh, for
if Shea
sure.
does win back to back, because it's not going to be as easy to do it
To keep
again.
doing,
It's
yeah,
like 3
exactly.
years in a row. So, but no,
And
yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
interesting,
think
bro.
Austin Reeves too helped Luka's case this season just by giving him an actual 25, 26 point per game score. Now the defense can't really worry about Luka. But with
Mm,
Shea, just due to the injuries, I'd argue he's had a tougher pathway than Luka.
Mm.
In terms of just who's out there, who's guarding who. Shea's always getting the majority focus of the coverage, and I think Luka's benefited from AR being out there. It's one thing whenever J-Dub comes back, but he hasn't played all year. But I think we'll put a bow on that, brother. Yeah, guys, hopefully you guys mess with the list. That's going to do it for the midseason awards, though. That was the last one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. And then, obviously we'll see at the end of the year how these awards shape up. But CJ, let's get into this expansion talk. Let's get into our storylines of the week. The NBA is preparing to take its first formal vote on expansion in Las Vegas and Seattle, like you said 20 minutes ago. According to a report from Sean Sharani of ESPN, the league's board of governors is expected to discuss a potential vote on the plan during meetings on March 24th and March 25th, which will begin the process of adding 2 new franchises and expanding the league from 30 to 32 teams. When I first saw this article, CJ, because I think this dropped on ESPN this morning, I wasn't originally going to put it in the outline. We were going to talk about a team. I think it's interesting. We'll talk about it in a second as well, but I think it's interesting because if you add teams, that means you have to change conferences. And I'll go into that a little bit in a second. But Seattle is widely viewed as the front runner for one of the teams, losing the Seattle Supersonics in 2008 when the franchise relocated to what, CJ?
Oklahoma City, sir.
There you go. While Las Vegas has also emerged as a strong candidate after years of hosting NBA events like the Summer League and NBA Cup, as we know. If the expansion is approved, each new franchise could cost around $7 billion or more, which would be distributed among the league's current owners. So that's another tidbit I'll talk about here. But the way that expansion works is the owners in the NBA right now fund the teams that are expanding. So the magic doesn't, the money just doesn't come out of thin air. It's not magic, right? All of the owners in the NBA are very wealthy. Obviously, Steve Ballmer's at the top. I forget who's the cheapest, but that wealth gap is like hundreds of millions of dollars. So Steve Ballmer can afford to give, let's say, $1 billion outright. Like all the other owners would have to come up with the other $6 billion. That way, it's kind of an easy pull of capital, and the NBA isn't losing money, but it's also an investment from the people within the league themselves. So it's kind of an interesting way of how they do it. Some people don't like that in the NFL. They actually do it a different way. They have investors, private people. It's interesting. I like it because it's the NBA community. The NBA is a brotherhood from the ownership all the way down to the training staff. They want to try to keep it in-house. So I like that they do it that way, but that's kind of that explanation right there. This move would also trigger major structural changes, including an expansion draft and a potential conference realignment. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about, CJ. The expansion draft will be interesting. I know you know how this works, but for our viewers, how an expansion draft works is you are allowed to keep, I think, up to 8 players on your core roster. The other couple players are allowed to get picked from your team. So essentially, the expanded team, the team that's added to the league, gets to choose a player from your roster that you were okay with letting go. The problem is that team has to pick up that person's contract. So usually superstars aren't going to be relocated to a new franchise. That would be extremely, extremely rare, but it can happen. So that's kind of the point of the expansion draft. The conference reshuffling, though, I think that all is dependent on the board of governors, Adam Silver, and how he wants to commission the league and where he wants to place teams like the Grizzlies or the Timberwolves or teams that split the Western and the Eastern conferences. That is a conversation I don't have information on right now as these reports come out. Obviously, I'm not behind the scenes. One day I hope to be, but I don't have that information for you guys like right now just because it's not available. But whenever they do have this meeting, we'll talk a little bit more about their plans for that. But CJ, what do you think about, obviously Las Vegas is your thing, like you said. So what do you think about, obviously you've heard that over the last year or so, but the NBA is finally making a move on it. How do you feel about it?
Dude, I think it's incredible, bro. I think, like you said, Vegas has kind of been always a location for basketball, and like you said, the Summer League and now the NBA Cup's there. But I feel like it's also a city that I feel like gets not a bad rep, but Vegas, you think of gambling, you think of downtown Vegas, but obviously there's more to it as well. So I think having a basketball team there, we've seen the Las Vegas Aces being able to be successful, and the city
Hmm.
kind of gets behind them on the WNBA side. So I think they see that as another market that they could tap into, and obviously we know, like I said, Vegas being the city it is, it brings a lot of people. It's going to bring seats into the arena. So I like it, bro. There's already the T-Mobile Arena there, so it kind of makes sense for them to do that. And like I said, it put me in a weird spot because more than likely they're going to be in the Western Conference, obviously, and that's the Thunder in the West. So it would be one of the
Be
teams that
weird.
I would be rooting for. But obviously, I'm a Thunder fan. But I love it, bro. I honestly I like it more for Seattle being able to get a team because
Me
I
too.
brought it earlier. I think it's the culture and
Miami
hoops
Beach.
culture is just in Seattle is just super dope, and the we relocated to Oklahoma City, and now that's kind of turning into what it is now. It just sucks for all the Seattle fans that aren't they don't really want to root for us because they're not in their city anymore. And now I think they
Yeah,
said
they got
that
snatched.
I think they said whenever like they do, if and when they do bring back Seattle, it'll be like it's Seattle's history. So like
Hmm.
OKC's history won't start until I think like '08 or '07, whenever we move to the Thunder. So we'll have our own history. So I feel like that would be easier, especially for the Seattle fans, keep the the history and the roots back into the city, so it gives them something to root for and stand behind. So I'm excited, bro. I think it's we haven't seen expansion since what, the '90s, I believe.
Yes,
I think it was
sir.
the like late or like 95, 96,
Mavs.
something like that. Yeah, like or wasn't it? It was like Orlando, Memphis,
Orlando,
or
Memphis,
Vancouver,
Vancouver,
Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, four teams, something like that. I think there's
Late
another one.
90s.
But so it's been since then, and I feel like we've all made a new team in 2K, and we've seen how like the draft works and stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see, what players people are gonna choose to stay on their roster because for the Thunder's instance, we have we're like 12 deep, so we're gonna be missing some people on our roster if that's the case. So it's gonna be interesting to see what that looks like, and I'm excited to see new teams getting introduced. Obviously, Seattle making a comeback, and then Vegas just a new franchise in general. So that'll be cool for us to see because we never seen that since we've been born at least. So it'll be dope and
Okay.
just
CJ, what's
history.
the name of the Vegas team before we move on?
Oh, see that's what I've always thought about. Like
Me too.
Las
I'm
Vegas.
thinking like
Las Vegas
gambler. It's gonna be something corny,
gamblers,
bro. But like, yeah,
hustlers,
hustlers, something hard. Something
yeah,
a little,
because
little play on
the
Vegas.
NHL is the Golden Knights, but I think that's
Yeah, the
because like
Knights.
the owner was in like the army or something, so that obviously has ties. But besides that,
Okay.
Aces, like we said earlier for the Vegas, so we can do that. I don't know. It's Kings maybe like Las Vegas. Or no,
Mm,
there's already a Kings, so they
there's
can't do
already
that.
Kings. Yeah,
But yeah, probably something like that, like gamblers or
like the
hustler,
Jokers. I was
joke.
thinking the
Yeah,
Jokers.
something
Something. Yeah, like the Las
gambling.
Vegas Jokers. Something
Yeah,
hard. I don't
but
know, but we'll figure it out, man. I think it's cool for the audience because we don't get to talk about many things like this in terms of like the NBA because the league just doesn't have a lot of. I think there's open discourse, but there's not a ton of information surrounding what happens in the board of governors meetings unless you're in the meetings themselves.
right.
So I think this was cool to talk about just because we got that from Shams.
Oh
Shout out to
yeah.
Shams.
Yes,
But let's go
sir.
out to the Big Apple, my boy.
Yeah, yes, sir, man. Like you said it. We're going to the lovely state of New York. New York state of mind, man. The Knicks have been balling out these past couple weeks, man.
Mm,
They're starting to find their groove in the Big Apple. They've gone 7-3 over their last 10 games and ranked second in the NBA in net rating over that span. The Knicks also ranked second in the NBA in defense rating over that span, allowing just 106.4 points per 100. On March 1st, they defeated the San Antonio Spurs, the best team in the NBA over the last 5 games, 114-89, showing that they are a true contender if their defense rating can hold. In that matchup, the Knicks held San Antonio to just 32 of 77 shooting, 41%, and just 9 of 34 from deep, 26%, only giving up 89 points on the night to one of the best teams in the West. during this stretch, Jalen Brunson's averaging 24 points per game and 9 assists per game, which ranks fifth in the NBA in assists over that span. Cat has also started to really hit a stride during the last 10 games, is averaging 20 points a night to go along with 12 rebounds on 62% shooting from the field and 39% from the beyond the arc. Man, it's just I think it's
Yeah, that's
a,
good.
it's incredible seeing the progression of what the Knicks have been this season. I was very high on them coming into this season. I thought they were. I think I said they were the team for me coming out of the Eastern Conference. So the fact that they've been really streaky and going through their down spells and highs of the season, it kind of looks like they're able to figure it out. I
We're
think
getting it. Yeah.
I think when you have Jalen Brunson playing at the way he's been performing all season long, it's something that you and I always talk about. I think he's probably one of my favorite players just because he's an undersized guard and he's still able to, get 24 points, 25 points a game and at a consistent level. And when you have the team that is built around him, it just seemed like a match made in heaven in my eyes, especially when you have Cat.
I agree.
I think Cat is really turned it around this season. I think quarter way into the season he was kind of really streaky, not really scoring that much. I feel like he's actually getting to his spots more, and I think he forgets that he's one of the most athletic
Big
bigs and that he's
Purr.
light on his feet. He could blow pipe people, dunk it on them, and able to stretch the floor as well. So Big Purr, bro. I think
Yeah.
Prize Picks, bro. They have like your top hit players or whatever, and Cat's on there for me. So I always gotta rock with him, bro. And he respects the coin. So I'm a big Cat fan around here, bro. But just what they've been able to do, bro. Just I think having a Mike Brown new coach in the arena and just kind of switching up the mentality. It looks like they still have bought in. They've been one of the starting core like members of a roster that has stuck together for at least like 3-4
Yeah, for
seasons.
sure.
So
For sure.
they've had that continuity, they have the experience. I think it was just getting into the right groove at the right time is really what's benefiting them. And obviously they were my pick, at the beginning of the season. And I think, they're starting to show, what that looks like, and it's able to contribute to winning basketball as well. So
Yes, sir.
shout out to the
Yeah.
Knicks, bro.
Yeah, the Knicks, like you said, your pick to come out of the East. Detroit makes it tough, but I'd still choose New York in that playoff series. I was going to bring up their defensive rating for me is what has been the change, right? I think they're second in defensive rating right now over the last 10 games. They're only allowing 106.4 points per game, which is pretty crazy. I think that's down a couple points on their mark on the season. Did want to bring up Mitchell Robinson, a couple of obviously they're key role players, but Mitchell Robinson is averaging like 6 or 7 offensive rebounds a game. Do you know who holds the record for offensive rebounds per game in a season? Can you guess?
Has it been like recently, or is it like back in
It
the
was
day?
within the shot clock era, yeah.
Within
It's
a
in
shot
the
clock.
80s.
80s. Okay. Oh, was it like Moses Malone or something like
It
that?
was.
Oh wow.
So the fact that we bring up Moses Malone with a player like Mitchell Robinson, for people who don't know, Mitchell Robinson, top 10 player at a high school, Western Kentucky. Why he went to Western Kentucky, probably got paid before NIL, who knows. Obviously, Knicks got lucky with him. They didn't really know if he was going to be able to provide value over the last couple seasons. He's turned into, to me, behind Steven Adams, the best rebounder in the NBA. I think the Knicks have found role players to, go alongside with what you're saying. They found role players to support Brunson and Cat. I think they get 20 a night. They've been doing this for 2 or 3 years now. I think Brunson will be on the All-NBA third team. Cat may not make All-NBA this season, but I think he's still putting up great numbers.
In the convert, yeah.
Yeah, like he'll be in the conversation. But what it is for me is just the supporting cast. You see McCall Bridges, Landry Shamet, you see Jordan Clarkson, you see Mitchell Robinson, you see Josh Hart, who's not spoken about a lot. But those are the guys, OG Anunoby. Those are the guys who are making the most impact for NY right now. I know you guys have had tough run-ins with the playoffs the last couple seasons. You're trying to get over that hump. I think this is the season out of any seasons over the last 4 or 5 years that you guys could get to the NBA Finals. So going 7-3 over your last 10, trying to finish strong, biting on the heels of the Celtics and the Pistons. it's a good spot for New York to be in. We haven't spoken about New York a lot over the last month. They've been quiet though. We spoke about Mike Brown in our Coach of the Year discussion. You brought him up 5 minutes ago during your conversation, but he's been awesome too. He's added a lot of game plans that are effective for them. If you watch New York, they play completely different. They're defensive minded first. That used to not be the case. Now they are focused primarily on that side of the ball while also running heavy pick and roll, allowing Jalen Brunson to do his own thing. So yeah, the defensive rating, giving up less than 107 points a night. That's the key indicator of success for them right now. So shout out New York. Feel like we don't really talk about New York that much. So Knicks fans, apologize for that because y'all have been doing well over the last 10 games. So JB, obviously Cat, obviously, but I think it's been the role players who have really, really stepped up in this time period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they've been playing incredible.
But yes, sir. You want to talk about Bam's 83?
Let's do it.
Because people probably gonna skip to this one in the timeline, man. People want to hear our conversation about it. So Bam Adebayo went for 83 points the other night, man. Crazy, beating Kobe's record. Adebayo delivered one of the most shocking scoring performances in NBA history, erupting for 83 points in a 150-129 win for the Miami Heat over the Washington Wizards on March 10th. The performance became the second highest single game scoring total in NBA history, surpassing Kobe Bryant, RIP, Kobe Bryant's famous 81-point game. The only other person who's obviously scored more is Will, the illustrious 100-point game. CJ, I got a question for you. After watching this performance from Bam, do you now think that this is possible, 100 points?
Yeah, bro. I think it is.
I'm
not gonna lie. Like, I think it gave me, because I feel like that was such gave me hope, bro. Because I'm like, no disrespect to Bam, but he's not an offensive player. So the fact that he was able to do this, it just gives me, if people are trying to, then yes, they got
trivia for you.
Yeah.
What is Bam's previous career high before this?
Oh, that is a good question.
And I'll tell you, it's less than 50. So if you can even guess the range.
Okay. Like 44?
Close. 41.
41, okay.
41 to 83.
So he doubled and then some.
Doubled. It's one of the biggest career high jumps in NBA history, scoring-wise. So crazy. But yeah, Adebayo finished the game with 83 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Like CJ said, still doing his thing on the defensive end, while also setting NBA records with 36 made free throws on 43 attempts.
Crazy.
Obviously, when you get that many points, most likely you did shoot some free throws like that. And we'll talk about the end of the game a little bit later. But the night started explosively. Adebayo scored 31 points in the first quarter, like you brought up in the Discord, and finished with 43 points in the first half, already topping his previous career high of 41. CJ was only 3 points off. So Miami continued feeding him possessions as the game progressed. And he stayed in late to chase history as the Heat pulled away, with the Wizards desperately triple teaming him to not allow Adebayo the ball. Interestingly enough, at the end of the game, I think we all tuned in, man, because I got the ESPN notification. I told CJ when I got that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to tap in because I like seeing history. I think if you're an NBA fan, no matter what team or whoever is playing, if something's going on, is going down, it's a big deal, you're going to want to watch it. So 100%. I was tuned in. The ethical hoops thing, I don't know. I don't want to give y'all tired. You guys have probably already heard a lot of people speak on that part. I think it's just more about the Wizards, man, than anything. I don't think it's about the Heat. I saw Bam getting triple teamed and throwing up 3-point shots. There was guys shooting shots. I think, Myron Gardner, threw up a 3 with a minute and 10 seconds left. They were up by over 20 points, and it was just to get Bam the ball back. So,
yeah.
You have certain things like that to go for stats, right? I don't want to take away anything from Bam Adebayo, but the Wizards are horrible, bro. And we talked about this a week ago. Washington, where are you guys at, man? Why don't you guys want to back me up, man? It's more on y'all than it is on Miami. Miami, they had a segment last week too. They've played well over the last month. They're 9-6 over the last 15. I think 8-2 over the last 10. Yep. They recently lost a game, but yeah, I think it's more about the Wizards' defense, and to give up even 30 points in a quarter. I mean, you're talking about Klay Thompson's 37 or whatever. That's only 6 points off the NBA record. It's really, the defense was just horrible. So before you talk about ethical hoops, I think you have to also talk about the effort level. Was it there? it's one thing if the Wizards were playing great defense and they're still chucking up half court shots to get Bam the ball, but that wasn't the case. The Wizards were just horrible. They're just not playing NBA defense right now, so they deserve for this to be the case. I think Eric Spoelstra said he felt no ways would do it again, is not apologizing for quote unquote stat padding. So I thought that was interesting. The Wizards were even intentionally fouling.
So he wouldn't get the ball.
He wouldn't get the ball. So I don't know. Regardless of the controversy, the record books now read Wilt 100, Bam 83, Kobe 81, putting Adebayo's night firmly among the most legendary scoring performances in NBA history. Did want to bring up another thing too, is also his grandma's 83rd birthday. On a day he scored 83 points. Getty Images was able to get a photo of him hugging his mother. He was crying, very emotional, but I think it's probably the photo of the year. It'll for sure win photo of the year. So just a cool moment, cool basketball moment, right? To be honest, I think CJ and I have been spoiled over the last 2 or 3 seasons we've had. I can name them for you guys. Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, Embiid.
Yep.
Who else has gone for 70? Help me. Is it just Adebayo? Is it those 5?
Book.
Man, Book went for 61. I'm trying to think of 70 and more. Mitchell in the last 2 years. Mitchell, Lillard, Embiid, Luka, Bam. Yeah, so it's those 5 guys. Yeah, that's it. Over 70 plus. But the fact that that's happened in 2 seasons is you got 5 guys going over 70, CJ. That's
insane.
Happen. It's insane,
that
right?
Should not be happening.
The fact that we're getting these scoring performances is like awesome. I think it just shows the growth of the game. So not going to take anything away from Adebayo. We're not even going to talk about the Heat in this one. I think it's just more about the Wizards D and playing NBA style defense. You got to, if you are able to give up 80 points to somebody, you deserve to lose by 30.
I agree. Yeah, it shouldn't even. And like my thing, kind of, talking about, like you said, the unethics or if it's unethical or whatnot. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. If it even gets to that point, y'all are barely starting to double team when he has 70, then it's one of those like, okay, like that is your fault, like you said. And I don't know, like I think you brought it up too when we were doing the pod with Stacks on Wednesday. Right after it happened, and it was like, man, at the end of the day, you're not gonna. 50 years into the future, you're not going to be, well, you might, but you're not really going to care that he shot that much free throws and he got to the free throw line that many times. And I feel like getting to the free throw line as well is like, they just couldn't guard him. Like ZD was saying, they were having like Will Riley on him, and like there's players that just could not guard him. Trey Johnson,
I'm like, what are we doing?
Even Sarr, like he wasn't even able to do that much. So it's and Sarr had an incredible game too, and it's obviously got overshadowed by this.
Yeah, like 37 or whatever.
Yeah, crazy. But it's for me personally, like you said, we were in Discord. Zay was playing his online Dynasty game, so we were watching that. And then you obviously getting notifications and stuff. I look at my phone and I tell him like, bro, Bam just scored 31 points in the first quarter, and that got everyone's attention, as it should, because I was putting it like we were just talking and shit, and I was like, bro, like to put it in perspective, that's like people's career high in a quarter. Like he's going for 50 at least. That's what I was thinking. Fast forward, I didn't really start watching it until probably like third quarter, like middle of the third quarter, just because I was like, okay, let me see. We saw he had, like you said, 43 and going into the second half. I'm like, okay, he's gonna have, it's one of those nights for him. Proceed into the third quarter, it gets up to like 60 or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, can he get 80? And then, like you said, as a basketball fan, a hoops fan, like I'm wanting to see history be made. So locked in. We're still watching Zay and Lon play their Dynasty game. Looking down, checking the box score, 70. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I'm watching this now. So, like you said, just that whole, he was chucking up threes, they were intentionally fouling so he wouldn't get the points. I'm like, bro, like, if you let him get this much, like, obviously don't let him, but, don't try to just and unintentionally have him not get it just because of you, like, a pride thing. But I don't know, bro. Like, you don't want to be known for the team that gave up the second most points in a game, but that
Not
should
at
have been
all.
something, an adjustment that you made further into the game because
Yeah, you
it's just
think,
one. Obviously. So, man, it was just
right?
being able to witness history, like you said, that the fact that Bam got 83, I think it just gives me hope that this 100-point record that is coveted and we don't have any footage of, like, I think it can be broke. I just don't know when and I don't know who, but I have a good feeling it's probably gonna get broke. Not sometime soon, but we'll be able to witness it. So it gave me
Oh
hope for
yeah.
that, bro. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you.
bro. It is within the realm of possibility, especially when it has to be on a team. I don't know if you saw the Jimmy High Roller video on this.
No, I
He kind of did
didn't.
a YouTube video. It's a good one. You should watch it, but it's a video on if it's possible to score 100 points in a game. And he said the game has to be close. It has to be obviously a player with the scoring capability, obviously. Then the coach has to be on board. I
Hmm.
think that was the other thing. Eric Spoelstra was on
He was on
board
board. Yep. Even
for going for it.
all the teammates too. They were
Yeah, all the
giving him
team,
the.
everybody was on board, right? So that's what you need. Obviously, that's what Will had in the '60s, playing against the Plumbers, quote unquote. I don't want to discredit him, but like they were on board with just giving him the ball and getting out the way. So I think that's how you get performances like this. Obviously, you have to get hot and stay hot. So shout out to Bam Adebayo, hell of a performance, and obviously it's going to be it's going to stay. It's going to stick for a long time. I don't know if people are going to get to 83 within the next 10 to 20 years. We'll see. I
Yeah.
might be wrong. I don't want to say that too high. It might be like, you're saying that too premature, but it's just hard to get to that level of scoring consistency. So shout out to Bam Adebayo, man. Really, really big accomplishment. But let's go out west, man. My Lakers. Let's talk about them for a second, man. Going back, spinning back on that, 8-2 over our last 10, bro. Just want to talk about this win against the Nuggets because I've preached about quality wins. We were able to get a W over Denver, 127 to 125.
Hmm.
Hey, bro, what do you? What, this is it. This was it. This is the win I was waiting for, bro. Just all the way perfect game. I think truly, I'm very, very blessed, and like I'm like okay, because I've talked about this for the last 4 months, just seeing my team, like how we haven't been able to put it all together. This is the best game of the season so far, without a doubt. Obviously, I think we were leading by as many as 17. The Nuggets stormed back. Aaron Gordon, I don't want to skip around too much, but I might a little bit because I'm excited. But Aaron Gordon, dude, the amount of triples that I
Hmm.
just think he's improved his 3-point shot so much. So down the stretch, that was a big deal. We were able to hold Jamal Murray to just like 1 of 14 shooting. I think he hit his first jump shot, which was actually the first bucket of the game. And then we didn't allow him to score after that. I think he hit a couple free throws, but not another field goal. Austin Reeves, 32 points over the last 3 games. I think he's averaging like 30 and 7 assists on really, really good splits. Obviously, Luka finished with 13 assists. Everybody was getting it going. I think it was like last 2 minutes, I want to say, AG hits a corner three. Austin Reeves hits a three at the top of the key off of a offensive rebound from DeAndre Ayton, who, honestly, bro, I think he didn't have the best statistical game, but he played a hell of a game down the stretch. He played Jokic when it mattered. He was able to box him out on the actual possession that Austin Reeves, was at the free throw line, missed the free throw intentionally, got his own rebound, put back a floater. DeAndre Ayton was on the block, blocking out Jokic to make sure he didn't get the rebound. That was able to put us into overtime. I think Marcus Smart also hit a big three like 40 seconds before that to put us up 1. And then Aaron Gordon got fouled and made a free throw. So game was tied. It was really back and forth. I just want to talk about Marcus Smart, man. The steal on Aaron Gordon. He makes some of those Caruso-style plays down the end of the stretch of this game. Having him back in the lineup is a huge W for us, and it's really the reason why we were able to get in this game. Because at the end of the game, I think the shot making by Luka, LeBron, and AR was awesome. But Marcus Smart, key steal with a minute and a half left, a huge three. with a minute to go, and then also with some time in overtime, he hit another triple from Luka. That was huge. So that, I think Marcus Smart being like our like X factor is how we're going to make an impact in the playoffs. He needs to be in the lineup as much as possible. But yeah, the overtime period was a dandy as well. Jamal Murray fouls out. LeBron seals him like one of the first few plays in overtime. Jamal Murray fouls out, so he's kind of out of the picture. And then it's a back and forth battle, man. Jokic goes down, hits a cut. I think he scored 4 points in the period, 3 assists in the period as well. Spencer Jones had a huge game down the stretch. He hit a really big 3 in the fourth quarter. He ended up hitting another 3 in overtime. My thing is, bro, I think the Nuggets, you guys should have won this game. Obviously, luck wasn't on your side. But the double team on Luka at the end of the game, when he did hit that, I think it was like a fall away jumper on the left hash or the left baseline. It was over Spencer Jones. But Bruce Brown doubles from the middle. So he kind of pushed Luka down to the left block or the baseline, and Luka was able to hit a fadeaway jump shot to give us the W. I think we were, at that point, it was 125. He hits that mid-range jumper with 0.5 left, and he pushes it to 127, 125 on the ensuing possession. Nuggets call timeout. Jokic inbounds the ball. Hardaway Jr. flicks up some. He also had a great game, too. Tim Hardaway Jr. had an amazing game. But he flipped up the ball at the end of the game there, and it didn't really go in. This is such a quality win because, 1, it's against a competitive team. 2, we were able to shut down a superstar. We were also able to win the glass. We shot 48 of 93 from the field, and we won the glass 46-41. We were also able to overcome 17 turnovers in this matchup. And it's the best win of the season, man. It's the best team win of the season. Everybody contributed in a big way. And I don't know, man. Like, these are the wins that show me the type of team that we're capable of being. And it really makes no sense why we would ever play down to a lower level. On Christmas, going back to Christmas Day, we lost 20 points to the Rockets. It's like we beat the fully healthy Nuggets, but we can't beat a Rockets team, so make it make sense, right? But it's all about where you're at in the season. Easily the best win on the season so far. Luka just had a hell of a game, hitting that game winner. It was actually his first game winner in a Lakers jersey. So I thought that was interesting because he's hit a bunch for Dallas, but hopefully this is the start of much more. Game before that was the Bulls game. Luka went for 50 points. Him and Mataz got into it. Mataz Buzelis, bro, if you're watching, you probably won't, but if you do see this, man, you've learned your lesson. I think he said it after the game. Yeah, I'm just not going to talk to that guy. I think pretty competitive first half. It was pretty close. I want to say it was tied going into halftime. We started to pull away in that third quarter because of Luka Doncic, man. Luka started getting into his zone. He hit 3 threes in that third quarter. DeAndre Ayton also had a massive game against the Bulls. Really gave us a lot of second chance points, which I feel like is his role right now. We don't need him to score 30 points. We need him to grab 15 rebounds and get blocks. And that's exactly what he did against the weak Bulls interior. Josh Giddey performed at an extremely high level, almost finished with a triple-double. But, yeah, Luka Doncic, the 51 points, 10 boards, 9 assists. LeBron was also in this matchup, too. He also dove on the floor the last game, bro, against the Nuggets. But he returned to the Bulls game. So he had missed – he was like a late scratch versus the T-Wolves. Came back versus the Bulls and played the Nuggets. So he's played the last 2, but he was back for the Bulls game. He scored 20 points. Austin Reeves was cooking as well. Just a pretty good win. It's not a super quality win. The Bulls aren't the best team, right? But I think when Luka goes for 50, similar to the Pacers game when he went for 50 the other day, it's like you can't really lose that. AR getting 30, just being a supporting team member, actually playing at an all-NBA level has been nice. But, yeah, I think it's more about the Bulls. I just don't know if their defense, they're giving up, 142 points. So, yeah, it's a pretty porous defense. It's not a super quality win there. But the win versus the Timberwolves was good, bro. We beat them 120-106. I think Austin Reeves and Naz Reid got into it in that matchup. We were trailing 21-16 after the first quarter. But Luka Doncic scored 31 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists, had that triple-double. Austin Reeves had 31 points versus the Timberwolves. We also won the rebounding and the turnover battle in that one. That's been a reoccurring theme for our Ws. We beat The T-Wolves on the glass, I think 47-43. And we also had 4 less turnovers than they did. So we were able to protect the ball, rebound it well. But yeah, just during the stretch, man, the offensive rating, we're scoring 122.6 points per 100 over the last 10, which ranks first in the NBA. I've said that to you multiple times on this pod, but for the viewers listening or audio listeners, the Lakers aren't going to struggle on offense. It's the defense. And that is something we've cleaned up too, as well, over the last 10 games. We're only giving up 111.6 points per 100, which ranks 9th in the NBA. CJ, what did I tell you? I said if we are a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, we're going to be a super dangerous team. The Lakers are now 3rd in the Western Conference with like 42, 43 wins. And yeah, I mean, we spoke about Luka's MVP case. I think he's building it out as we speak right now. And like I said, Austin Reeves has been that Robin to his Batman. And then LeBron has been able to take on that tertiary role. And the statement win versus the Nuggets is really, it just sums up the season, bro. Putting it together on both ends of the floor, getting a little lucky, and then hitting shots when it matters most. It's literally the Lakers season in a nutshell. So shout out the Lake Show, man. Currently on a 5-game win streak, I think right now, 8-2 over the last 10. So playing very well, high-level basketball. This is easily our best stretch of the season because we're going into the playoffs. And obviously, the record shows it. So, yeah, CJ, I'm feeling pretty good about where the Lake Show is, man. Can't complain.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Just, kind of going into Thunder analysis. So, because we haven't talked since last week, obviously, but since the last time we talked, we've been able to get 4 straight wins from March 7th to the 15th, starting at home against the Golden State Warriors on March 7th, where we led 67-54 at halftime. But watch the Warriors erase the margin and tie the game 77 late in the third. OKC stayed poised, and we took an 86-83 lead going into the fourth and sealed a 104-97 win with Shea's drill when he drilled a high arching 3 with 40 seconds left. 2 nights later, so this is, I talked about it earlier. This is the stretch that we were saying that kind of has catapulted him up into our number 1 spot, for both of us. And I think kind of the whole world to see. 2 games later, we end up going against the Denver Nuggets, which was an incredible game. Like you were saying with that game that you had against the Nuggets, I think this is probably one of our best games as well. Just seeing it, I think we had shot the pod that day, so I was able to watch, I think, the first half or first quarter for sure. Aaron Gordon explodes for a 23-point first quarter. And like you said, Tim Hardaway Jr. has been balling out as well. I think he ended up hitting 2 threes and getting a layup, so he had 8 points. That game was crazy, bro. Like, it was an incredible start from them.
Down to the wire
the whole time. Even Shea's 3 to go up ends up go up by 4. He hits a 3 to go up by 4. Denver comes down. Jokic pulls a 3. I forgot who ran into him. I think it was Ihart. Runs into Jamal Murray, or it ends up getting a foul. So it's a 4-point play to tie it up.
Made it. Yeah,
Jokic made the 3, and then they hit their free throw to tie the game 126-126. Shea does it again, bro. Comes down, hits a sidestep 3, bang, to win the game with 2 seconds left. They had a heave from Aaron Gordon, to try to, make it to take it to overtime, but we were able to seal that.
Nuggets been ass in the clutch, bro.
Super, bro. So I think that's, that was back to, 2 games in a row. He was able to do that. Following this game, we end up going against the Celtics. We're on a little home stretch right now. So all these games are home for us, thankfully, but end up going against the Boston Celtics as well, where we were able to get a 104-102 win, which in a game that had 19 lead changes as well. Shea hits a mid-ranger to break a 98 all tie, and then Chet ends up getting a rebound with a miss with 0.9 seconds left and sank the winning free throws, man. I feel like, that's been,
it's a big deal.
not questioning it, but he has in moments have missed, big time free throws. So the fact that he was able to knock these two down and give us a lead, obviously going against the Celtics, bro, I was able to, watch the recap and I put a couple notes, but just, their bench unit is incredible. I feel like that's something that we've been saying a lot with the Celtics team with Tatum being down. Tatum actually didn't play this game. They were saying it was for
Yes,
Lou Dort management apparently, but, yeah, so he
for
wasn't in, but
sure.
Jalen Brown had an incredible game. Peyton Pritchard hitting that three to go into the halftime to be up by three. Just like moments, that I feel like that's why the Celtics are so dangerous, because they're going to put up threes. They're going to have role players on their team, hit big shots, do well on the defensive side. Luka Garza, do the Luka Garza, Ron Harper Jr., Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez all scored 5+ points, and that they all came off their bench. So I think that kind of shows the type of depth that they had and what JB's been able to do. Just a couple of notes I took about about him is just that he's been dominant, bro. Just in the mid range, getting to his spots. He hit a tough fadeaway jumper to I think tie the game, and that's when Shea came down, hit the mid range jumper, and then possessions go by, and we were able to have the ball last possession, miss it, but Chet being able to get that offensive rebound and get fouled. It wasn't the prettiest win. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but going against the Celtics, one of the best teams in the NBA in the Eastern Conference, is a very quality win coming off that game, going against the Nuggets in that manner or fashion. I think we're just tested, bro. Like you said, I think when you want to be going against these type of teams, you want to be
Exactly.
going against
You want
the
to face
high
that.
high competition at the end of the season to see what you're
Right.
really made of. And something that we've been doing well all year is just the next man up mentality. Jared McCain has been doing fantastic. Isaiah Joe is doing great as well. Cason Wallace, and his role has changed throughout the whole season. He's still been able to contribute to winning basketball regardless of what it is, and I feel like that gets overlooked a lot. So just as a whole roster, bro, that those 3 straight games of Shea hitting big time buckets, we're playing good defense, giving them a back and forth game pretty much all game for the last 2 specifically, but even the Warriors are starting to get a little chippy towards the end, seeing that we can fight through the adversity, even though we're not having the greatest game per se, we could still get a win. And these type of games at this type of the season, it shows you what a team's really made of. So shout out to them, bro. Getting 3-0, and then we capped off the week going against the Minnesota Timberwolves on Sunday yesterday, March 15th. It was a great game, man. I this was a game, man. This was I think I said it last, or I
Yeah.
didn't bring it up last time, but Shea broke Wilt Chamberlain's record going against the Celtics. So this is the 128th game potentially that he could have consecutively. Wasn't the greatest game for him. ZD and I talked about it. This is, probably the worst shooting game he's had all season. I have the numbers up right here, so let me tell you. He was 7 for 22. So a performance that we don't see from Shea usually, but he was able to get the 20. I think ZD and I were talking about it. He scored 10 of his 22 in the fourth quarter. So I think that kind of showed that,
Yeah. He's
it's something where we think about it, right? Records being broken 60+ years, whatever, but you're trying to get to that bucket, and the manner of fashion he got it in, hitting that and one on Ant to seal him to 30, just kind of,
yeah.
or 20 was like the bow on top of the game. But overall, as a unit, man, I think we ended up scoring 61 points against the Timberwolves in this game. And just my main takeaway from this, I'm pretty sure you saw it, Z, and if y'all didn't see it, it's just the passing, the dribble handoffs, and the passing between the legs between
The
iHeart
ball movement
and
is
Jared McCain
crazy.
is looking incredible, bro.
Yeah,
I
the
told
ball
you
movement's
about it.
crazy.
It's our little mini version of our Splash Bros. So I think they're starting to take some of the plays that the Warriors were running back in the day and just kind of implement into our offense now. And if we could get that going, bro, just the passing abilities from our bigs, it's going to be hard to defend, especially when you have Shea getting to the mid range, Chet being able to knock down his threes as well. It's just opens up opens up the playbook for us and just more opportunities for other guys to shine in moments. And I think Jared McCain ended up hitting 5 threes this game. So Gerald Morey, you said you sold high on him. I don't know, man. It's looking like we unlocked something else into his game and are
Yeah, I
putting
don't
him in an
know.
opportunity
I
where
don't know.
he's able to thrive. And I think it kind of goes to show just that was our huge pickup. One of the biggest pickups I would say the last 2 seasons, and just what he's been able to do for us, bro. Him, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Wiggs. We still haven't really even had our full roster, but just what Caruso could provide in his spurts and his moments, being able to knock down threes. Lou Dort, same thing as well. I feel like I don't talk about him as much because, he's not having the 40% from the 3-point line, but, he could still provide a little bit of offense when he needs or when we need him to. So, and we know he's going to, do his thing on the defensive side of the ball. But, 4 straight dubs, bro. This past week it was 3 nail biters of games, game sealing, game winning shots, and just seeing that the team can be able to thrive in these type of moments has been incredible to see. I'm a happy camper on this side, bro.
There you
Shay's
go.
kind of solidifying his spot in the MVP race, and we're kind of getting the gap isn't big, but it's not as tight as it was a week ago this time. So I think we're like 4 games ahead of
The
the Spurs
Spurs,
right now,
yeah.
3.5. So we're slowly getting that, but they're on our tail. So hopefully, we finish the season strong and we're able to seal that first seed in the Western Conference, bro.
Yeah, there you go, man. I think it's the Thunder have been just so dominant for 2 straight seasons, bro. So you've had it's been awesome to see the growth, and obviously iHeart, Jared McCain, like all the additions to the team have been really cool to see. And that's why Marcus Smart, like guys like Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, like for the Lakers are just so important. But let's get into these games tonight. I know we got 8 of them. First one on the docket, excuse me, Magic versus Hawks. This was supposed to be the Magic City night, but I think
Mm,
ended up getting canceled. Did you
yeah,
see that?
I did see that.
um, excuse me. But the Magic are missing Franz Wagner, Anthony Black, and Jonathan Isaac. Jet Howard is listed as a game time decision. The Hawks have listed Jonathan Kuminga as a game time decision. So hopefully that boy ended up going. I don't know if he did though. Storylines for this game, though. This is the 3rd matchup of the season for the Hawks and the Magic. The Hawks are leading the season series 2-0. The Hawks are 9-1 over the last 10 games. They're on a 9-game winning streak. They've actually had, I think, 12 or 11 straight home games. So
Mm.
they've been able to clean house. Their schedule has not been difficult, but they are on a win streak, and it does matter, especially being in the Eastern Conference. The Magic are 8-2 over the last 10 games and are on a 7-game win streak. Over the last 10 games as well, the Hawks rank 1st in the NBA net rating with a plus 13.1, and the Magic rank 6th in the NBA net rating over that same span with a plus 8. So this is the Magic City game has turned into one of the best games on the slate. 2 teams going back at it, who are some of the best teams in the East as of right now, technically over the last 10 games. Obviously, the Hawks have had an easier schedule than the Magic, but I think the Magic are starting to find their form. We had a segment on them a week ago. How is Paolo and Desmond Bane and all of those guys going to respond? They've responded pretty well. They're on a win streak right now. Paolo's averaging over 27 points over his last 5 games on decent efficiency. Desmond Bane is hooping.
Yep.
He's hooping. Still not worth
For
4 first round picks, but definitely getting to a bucket. If I had to choose, bro, I got to go with the Magic, man. Just 2 teams kind of on a similar trajectory, but I got to choose Orlando. I feel like they've had a harder pathway to get to their win streak. So give me Orlando on the road.
Yeah, I was rocking Orlando as well. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of them and what they've been able to do these past couple seasons. And Desmond Bane kind of getting into form right now. I think is rocking with the Magic in this one as well, bro. But heading into our next game, it was another 6 p.m. tip off. We have the Warriors versus Wizards. The Wizards are missing Alex Sarr, Anthony Davis, Keyshawn George, Leaky Black, and D'Angelo Russell. The Warriors are missing Seth Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Horford.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah, Horford. Yeah, my
Green, Draymond Green and Kristaps Porzingis and uh
D'Anthony Melton.
D'Anthony Melton.
Yeah.
I was brain fart. D'Anthony Melton are listed as a game time decision. So a lot of injuries in this game, but
They've
some
had a lot of injuries all year, bro.
storylines for this matchup though. This is the first matchup of the season between the Wizards and the Warriors. The Wizards are 0-10 over their last 10 games, and the Warriors are just 2-8.
Oh God.
Both the Wizards and Warriors rank bottom third in defense rating over that 10-game span. The Warriors rank 23rd and are allowing 117.7 points per 100, and the Wizards are 29th and are allowing 123 points per 100 possessions. This is one of those games, man. I'm rocking with the Warriors after, Wizards giving up 83 to Bam. I just don't think, you would want it to be a motivation for them. I don't know if they can do that. They've been pretty bad over their, obviously, last 10 games being winless, but I think the Warriors aren't much better, but I think they have a little more than what the Wizards have. It could be competitive. Wizards are home. Trae Young is in the lineup as well, so that could be something, but I don't know, man. I'm rocking with the Warriors in this one, though. What about you?
Yeah, me too. I just 10-game losing streak, 83 points. It's the defense for me is just so porous. Like you said, giving up over 125 points a night. I'm good. I'm gonna take the Warriors. But going into our next matchup, man, we got the Blazers versus Nets. The Nets are at home. Blazers on the road. This one was at 6:30, but the Nets are missing Michael Porter Jr., Terrence Mann, Nolan Clowney, and Day'Ron Sharpe. Ben Seraph was listed as a game time decision. The Blazers are missing Shaedon Sharpe and Damian Lillard. Rob Williams III and Chris Youngblood are listed as game time decisions. Storylines for this game, though, this is the first matchup of the season between the Nets and the Blazers. The Nets ranked 28th in the NBA in net rating over their last 10 games at a -14, which is absolutely horrible. The Blazers rank 18th in the NBA in net rating over that same span with a -2.5, 2.5. The Nets are also on a 3-game losing streak entering this matchup tonight with the Blazers. Both of these teams have kind of been up and down. Denny Avdia has been in and out of the lineup. Drew Holiday's had a couple really good big games. So I got to go with the Blazers. Yeah, I feel like they are playing a little bit better as a squad, even though Shaedon Sharpe isn't in the lineup now with Denny back. Drew is there, and Donovan Clingan, who I'll let you talk about a little later, has had a really great season. Supposedly 2024 draft class wasn't super good, but that hasn't really been the case. I think all of those dudes have pretty much made a sophomore leap, including Clingan. So I'm going to go with the Blazers. They're also top 15 in defensive rating over their last 10 games. So I'll go with the team that's been playing a little bit better defense.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Rocking with the Blazers. Like you said, I have 2 players on my Dynasty team that plays for the Blazers, so I've been keeping up with them, and I think they just Nets and missing MPJ. Obviously, I think we might have talked about it on Monday, and Yegor as well. I think they ended up winning that game. I'm pretty sure. I forgot who they played. They did, but I don't know if they could get this one, man. What Killingan's been able to do, a double machine. Obviously, Denny's going to be able to get to the line, attack the rim. I think they just have a little bit more. So I'm rocking with the Blazers as well, sir. We have another 6:30 tip-off game. It was the Suns versus Celtics. The Suns are missing Mark Williams and Dylan Brooks, and the Celtics are missing Vucevic. Some storylines for this game. This is the second matchup of the season between the Celtics and Suns. The Celtics defeated the Suns on February 24th, 97-81. A little 2000s game right there that we had last time.
There you go. Yeah.
Behind 22 points and 8 assists from Derek White over the last 5 games. The Celtics ranked 10th in the NBA in net rating with a plus 6.6, and the Suns ranked 9th in the NBA in the net rating with a plus 6.8. Over the last 10 games, the Celtics are 6-4, and the Suns are also 6-4. The Suns are 39-28 and 7th in the West, and the Celtics are 44-23 and ranked 2nd in the East. So this is low-key a pretty good matchup, bro. Yeah, Jalen Green kind of getting back into the lineup with the Suns.
He's been awesome.
Bro, I think he's kind of, what we were saying about him and Devin Booker, kind of being an exciting backcourt to watch. It looks like it's coming together, at the right time. But Celtics, man, I don't know. At home, I think I'm gonna rock with the Suns for this one, bro. I
I
think we're
like
gonna get
it.
it. I think we're gonna have a
I was
Jalen
gonna say
Green and
too.
Devin Booker performance. I think it's gonna.
Me too.
They've been kind of like the darlings of the season. Didn't really expect them to do that well, especially their last couple of seasons that they've had. But I think they've kind of figured out the type of team that they are, and the type of players that they have, and just have really good continuity. They play very, very aggressive on defense, and obviously they just let Booker and now Jalen Green kind of cook. So I think they're piecing everything together at the right time. I think they're gonna get this dub tonight, bro.
Yeah, they play connected on defense and they have a pecking order on offense. And the Suns are the team that has performed the most above expectations relative to their preseason projections this year. I'm going with the Suns as well, man. They've just played really well, similar to the Celtics, same record over the last 10. Yeah, give me the Suns, man. They've showed that they are a way better team, obviously, than the numbers might indicate,
Mm-hmm.
especially the preseason ones. But going into this next matchup, Grizzlies versus Bulls. The Bulls are at home. This one's at 7 p.m. The Grizzlies are missing Santi Aldama, who just recently got OFS, and Scottie Pippen Jr., who also just recently got OFS. Wall Clay Jr., Ty Jerome, and G.G. Jackson are listed as game time decisions. The Bulls are missing Anthony Simons, Zach Collins, and Jaden Ivey, who actually got demoted to the G League. Isaac Okoro and Colin Sexton are listed as game time decisions for this matchup as well. Some of the storylines for this game, though, this is the first matchup of the season between the Grizzlies and the Bulls. The Grizzlies are 2-8 over the last 10 and are on a 7-game losing streak. The Bulls are 3-7 over the last 10 games and ranked 23rd in the NBA net rating with a minus 5.7. On the season, the Grizzlies ranked 20th in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 113.7 points per 100. The Bulls ranked 25th in the NBA in offensive rating, scoring 112.3 points per 100. So both teams pretty similar, honestly, especially offensively, very close to each other on that side of the ball. I am leaning a little bit towards the Bulls. I think Josh Giddey's had pretty good game. They had a pretty good game against us. That Matas has played extremely well, and Morant is back, but you don't really hear much of him. He hasn't been contributing at a super high level. He'll get you the 20 points a game and 6 assists, but at this point, I'd rather take Josh Giddey. So I'm going to go with the Bulls. It might be a little bit of a hot take, but the Grizzlies are just 2-8 over the last 10, and yeah, I'm going to take the Bulls at home, United Center. Give me Chicago.
Yeah, I'm rocking with the Bulls, bro. I talked about him earlier. Josh Giddey, just he's able to put up numbers, and I think it's going to be enough for the Grizzlies, or it's not. It's going to be too much for the Grizzlies to be able to keep up with all the injuries that they've had all year. And like you said, Matas has been playing really well, and they've kind of are always in the running for the play-in. It doesn't really seem
Always, bro.
like it's ever gonna be going away for them. So think they are good enough to compete. It's just like if they're really going to want to just make a play in and kind of be in that running or get a higher pick in their draft, right? But I'm rocking with the Bulls as well. I think they got the talent and the players to be able to get this dub tonight. So going into our next matchup, it's another 7 p.m. matchup. We got the Mavericks versus Pelicans. The Mavs are missing Kyrie Irving and Derek Lively. Klay Thompson and Daniel Gafford are listed as a game time decision, and the Pelicans have listed DeJounte Murray as a game time decision. Some storylines for this game. This is the fourth matchup of the season between the Mavs and the Pels. The Pelicans lead the season series 2-1. The Pelicans also rank 12th in the NBA over the last 10 with a 3.1 and are 6-4 over that span. The Mavericks rank 26th in the NBA in net rating over their last 10 with a minus 13.8 and are just 2-8 over that span. The Mavs beat the Cavs their last time out, 130-120, and the Pelicans have been able to defeat the Raptors and the Warriors during the stretch. So, Pelicans, not having the
Yeah.
craziest schedule, but they're getting dubs, and for them, that's what they're trying to do. Obviously they don't have their pick. They haven't been playing their young guys as much as they were in the middle of the season, or like at the beginning of the season with Derek Queen. I think Jeremiah Fierce hasn't really got time lost, but it's more so Derek Queen, and kind of like limiting the minutes from their young guys. So that's been kind of interesting to see. But I think
It
they'll be able to
has.
get this dub. Honestly,
Me too.
Pelicans, they've been pretty
Me
competitive for the
too.
most part. Obviously ranking 12th in the NBA over the last 10, and NBA in the off or just NBA rating in total. But just what they've been able to do, bro. I feel like they're one of those teams going into the season had not high expectations, but I thought they would have been able to compete, and just injuries to them all season. They're getting their guys back now, so I think they have a good enough roster to be able to compete against the Mavs tonight and get this dub. So rocking
Yeah,
with the
dude,
Pels.
and like you said, I think Cooper Flag has played great since coming back from his injury, and obviously they got the win versus the Cavs last time out. But the Pelicans are starting to play their veterans, and if Dejounte Murray's in, yeah, give me the Pels. He's had 30-point performances over the last 2 or 3 games. CJ, if Dejounte Murray is healthy, Zion's healthy. That's a different story, man. So yeah, give me the Pelicans. I feel like when they get it all figured out, they'll be good. Next game, though, this game was at 8:30 about an hour ago. It's now at halftime, but we got the Lakers and Rockets, man. My squad, my team is on the road. Houston's at home, but the Lakers are missing Maxi Kleber for this game, and the Rockets are missing Fred VanVleet, Jayshawn Tate, and Steven Adams. Alperen Şengün was listed as a game time decision, and it looks like he didn't end up going, which is not good for Houston. But let's get into the storylines for this one. This is the second matchup of the season between the Rockets and the Lakers. The Rockets defeated the Lakers on Christmas Day, like I mentioned about an hour ago, 119-96. We lost by over 20 points. The Lakers are on a 5-game winning streak, however, and are 8-2 over the last 10 games. LA also ranks first in offensive rating over that span, scoring 122.3 points per 100. And they also rank 9th in defensive rating, allowing just 111.5 points per 100 possessions. The Rockets are 6-4 over the last 10 games and rank 17th in the NBA net rating with a minus 0.9. This will be the first game of a baseball series between the Lakers and the Rockets. So I think we play them on a little back-to-back type of ordeal, which will be interesting. This game is big because it's going to matter for the tiebreak. We only play the Rockets 3 times. We've already lost once. If we lose again, we have lost the tiebreak. So we need to make sure we win this game tonight. I'm going with the Lakers. Luka Doncic is averaging 35 points per game over his last 5. Austin Reeves is above 30 over his last 3. LeBron's numbers are down post All-Star break. However, he's taken on a more of a tertiary role, like I was explaining in that Nuggets game. And Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard, Rui Hachimura, Ayton, our role players are starting to really step up. I actually feel like now we have better role players than the Rockets do, which I wasn't originally going to say at the beginning of the season. Just kind of goes to show you how much 60 games can change our thoughts and opinions on things. But I'm going with the Lakers. Even though we're on the road, we are not the best road team. But I still think we'll be able to get a W today in Houston. So let's go, Lake Show. I'm with y'all, man.
Yeah, I'm rocking with you too, bro. I'm going Lakers as well. Luka's been on a tear. AR's been playing incredible. I think especially if Sengun didn't go, I think that has something to do with it. Obviously, that would have been a huge X factor in the game. But since he didn't go, I think it's just Rockets just don't have enough to be able to keep up with the Lakers. So rocking with the Lake Show as well in this one, man. And to round off the night, boys, we have the 9 p.m. tip-off between the Spurs and Clippers. The Spurs are missing Luke Cornett and Dylan Harper, and the Clippers are missing Niederhauser and Bradley Beal. Kawhi Leonard is also listed as a game-time decision. Some storylines for this matchup. This is the second matchup of the season between the Clippers and Spurs. In their first game on March 6th, the Spurs defeated the Clippers in a 25-point comeback win, 116-112. Over their last 15, the Spurs ranked first in the NBA in win-loss record, going 13-2 over that stretch. The Clippers ranked 9th in the NBA in win-loss over that same span, going 9-6. The Spurs ranked first in net rating over that 15-game span with a plus 13.1, and the Clippers ranked 12th in net rating with a plus 4.6. Man, this is gonna be a banger too,
one,
bro.
Yeah,
we've had some good
one.
games tonight.
For sure.
I think, man, I don't want to rock with the Spurs, bro, but they've been so good. But I think that game that they had the last time they played, I think that's gonna hold weight in this matchup, and I think the Clippers are gonna, especially being into a dome. I'm rocking with Kawhi, bro. If hopefully he went, but if he didn't, it's gonna be a lot harder. But I think if he did, I think the Clippers end up getting this dub tonight. So rocking with the Clip Show.
And you said it, like the Clippers are, 12th in net rating. You said it. Like it's not like they're top half of the
Yep.
NBA right now. It's not like they suck.
Right.
They're one of the only teams. I think I forget the other team. I was just looking at it. I am so sorry, guys. I will find it for the next episode. But they are alongside another team, the only team in NBA history to come back from what is it? It was like they were like 14 games under 500.
Oh yeah.
13.
Mm-hmm.
And they're one of the only teams to come back from that many games back of 500 to above 500. Kind of shows you where the Clippers are right now. And obviously Darius Garland's healthy. So I think anything can happen. I think the Spurs might overlook this one too. So yeah, give me the Clippers. It's rare that you'll hear me say that. But out of the two teams that I hate, I'll take the LA team for sure. Give me the Clips.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Dynasty?
sir. You got Dynasty? I was gonna say you got your Dynasty stuff, right?
I got my Dynasty stuff, man. So week 1 of round 2 just concluded yesterday. Was able to get, first week a 530 to 486 win. Obviously, it's 2 weeks, so it's obviously the cumulative score for 2 weeks to see who ends up advancing. But was able to get huge performances, bro. Man, this was, what I told y'all about how, Shea getting that, I think it was 85 or whatever it was, performance was going to be. Having Tristan feel like he's having to lock in scores and whatnot. And obviously Jokic had an incredible performance that night, but he locked in his score a little too early because Jokic ended up getting a 98-point performance later on in the week. And I think if he followed up his performance against the Thunder and had 96 points, and then the following game after that had a 98-point performance. So he's been on an incredible tear, but, obviously Tristan has Giddey, Santos, DeRozan ends up, dropping his season high for the season, got 63 points. Durant had another 55 points. Maxime Reynaud has been doing really good for him. He picked up Kristaps Porzingis, and he ended up getting almost a 40 spot for him. It was tough. Long story short, I say all that to say I kind of felt like I was in the situation that I was trying to put him in and like forcing a lock just to kind of keep up. But I think he got a little too conservative with his picks, and it kind of put me in a spot where going into, I believe, not my last matchup, or no, yeah, it was this Sunday matchup, because I have Julius Randle. It was the Timberwolves versus Thunder. I still had a game for him, and I think I was only down by 10. So ended up getting a huge performance from him. I think he dropped 50. Yeah, he dropped 54 for me. So that obviously gave me the dub. This week, I locked in one while ZD was talking, but I got 65 points from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That was huge. But he also got huge performances from Josh Giddey, who gave him 70 fantasy points, and also Kristaps Porzingis, who just dropped 30 points and got 5 stocks. So 70 points from him, 60 points for Porzingis, 70 points from Giddey. That's 130 between two players already for him. Not looking the greatest. But after last week, try not to get too nervous or, try to settle. Just kind of look at the matchups, see if, I think they can get more points and kind of set certain point markers. That's kind of how I've been going about this round specifically, just because I think that was the most points I scored all season for a week. So did it at the right time. I can't complain.
Yep.
Obviously kind of got not gifted, but him locking in that first game, which, not saying it was a bad choice because I didn't expect Jokic to get 90 back-to-back games, but obviously that would have been points for him to kind of widen the margin, but he probably learned from this last week, just the type of player Jokic is. You don't really know that you can probably wait and might get a better performance.
You can risk it. Yeah, you can risk it.
But it started off the week off good. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was only projected to get me 37 points. He ended up getting me 65. So, almost doubled. I did double.
He's been doing that all season.
So
he'll fix it next year.
Like kind of like what ZD said with projections. It seems like I over exceed the projections that Super
Points
sets
over
for me. So
projections. Yeah, your
I'm
points over projections, dog.
I like my odds, bro. You know, like I said, don't want to talk too crazy and whatnot.
Yeah, of
But
course not.
last time definitely was in a good mood going into the week, and then obviously it kind of saw what it turned into. But I think that's what makes it even better for me because I'm keeping up with the season, and it gives me something else to watch while I'm watching the game. You know, I'm playing the game in the game, so it's gives me like, oh, I'm watching the Trailblazers going against the Nets on a Monday night. You know what I mean? So it gives me
Yeah,
something
exactly.
to look forward to, I guess. So it's been incredible, man. Was able to get that week 1 dub, but obviously it matters about this week and what how many points Tristan's able to put up. But you know, I'm a fight. I'm a be smart with my locks and just kind of being setting, like I said, points line to where I'm like, okay, if a player gets this, they drop 40, 50 points, they only usually drop 20 to 30, I'm probably gonna lock it, just be safe. But also kind of seeing how he's going about it now, because after that first week, he probably isn't gonna just lock scores just to lock them.
Can I offer some advice?
Sure.
Keep your utility players open, because those are the guys you can play on a Sunday. You need to grab somebody off the waivers, whatever. But if you lock a utility player in, you're locked into a position.
Yeah.
So if you need a guard, you got to grab a guard. But that
Yeah.
utility spot, you can get all 5 positions. It's really useful. So be mindful of that, because you might have in a utility spot, but that's gone now.
Yeah, it is gone now.
But that's gone. So you've used it, which is fine, but your utility spots are your most flexible spots. So you want to be careful, especially on that second week, because if you get locked out and you need a guard and there's only trash guards available Sunday, you're going to be mad.
Yeah. No, yeah, facts. Yeah, shit, bro. That's why I had to ask you. I've been trying to get advice and stuff just because I was in a situation where I had Gigi Jackson and Jonathan Kuminga on my bench, but Gigi Jackson was like a game time decision, and Jonathan Kuminga was as well. So I was like, damn, I don't know who I should get. And then I ended up picking Derrick Jones Jr. up, who ended up getting me a 42 points.
The most points out of all.
Yeah, out of all 3. So yeah, no, I'm trying to do better about just structuring my lineup and having, like you said, guards in certain spots and whatnot. But once you lock certain positions, especially utility, you're left with just the position lock. So like you said, that's kind of where I'm at in that. I feel like I have forwards that could play shooting guard, or guards that could play forward spots, or vice versa, is so important, especially in this league, because that's already 3-4 slots that are just in your starting lineup, besides your utility. So it's important to just have versatile players, and I think thankfully I've been able to kind of structure my roster to where I haven't been locked out.
Yeah,
but it's something I'm more aware of now. So kind of going into next season, I'm gonna be thinking about that, especially during the draft and whatnot. But no, yeah, man, it's good. Was able to get a week 1 win, for sure, and I think it was like a 40-point lead, but obviously he put up 130 between 2 players, so that's a huge
evaporated
point.
now.
Yeah. It doesn't mean anything. So we'll see, man. I'll give y'all an update Wednesday, and hopefully this time next week I'll be able to be say that I'm in the finals, but if not, it'll be a good one. So we'll see, man. That's my little update for Dynasty. Was there anything else you wanted to say to the people?
Nah, man. We got all NBA next time, but yeah, this one was good. MVP stuff, bam, expansion, a lot of good stuff. So thank you guys for sticking around. Obviously, if you're watching right now on YouTube, we appreciate you. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, if y'all liked and enjoyed this episode, 3-Man Weave, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time, man. Peace.
3-Man.